Good afternoon. We welcome everybody to the December 9th meeting of the Henderson County Board of Public Education. I am doing the welcome. This is the short time that I will do this because this is always the reorganizational meeting of the board officers each year in December. So we will go through.
Color guard, pull, post, ready, cut, ready, face, freezing, arms.
I pledge allegiance. Thank you. You'll follow along. Item 6 on your agenda is the election of board officers. We have Ms. Lopez here from Campbell Shatley, who is going to conduct the chair and vice chair elections.
Good evening. We will open the floor for nominations for the offices of Chair and Vice Chair of the Henderson County Board of Education. The board will vote on the nominations in the order received until a candidate receives a majority of the votes, being 4 with the board this size. And so we'll start with the chair, and after election of the chair, we'll proceed to the vice chair. So starting with election of the chair, the floor is now open for nominations for the position of chair. Do I hear any nominations?
I would like to nominate Dr. Kathy Revis.
Second.
So we have Dr. Kathy Revis. Dr. Revis, do you accept the nomination? I do. Okay. Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, I hereby close the floor, and we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of Dr. Kathy Revis as chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Dr. Revis. So now moving on to vice chair, the floor is now open for nominations for the position of vice chair. Do I have any nominations?
I would like to nominate Alyssa Norman.
I would like to nominate Mr. Robert Bridges.
We have Alyssa Norman and Robert Bridges. Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, first I'll ask you both, do you accept the nomination for vice chair of the board? I'll start with you, Ms. Norman. Pardon?
We start with Mr. Bridges.
We can. We'll start with Mr. Bridges. Yes, okay.
So I will not accept. I will.
Okay. So now, Mr. Bridges, we will now proceed to the vote. All in favor of the Mr. Bridges as the vice chair of the board, please acknowledge that by saying aye.
Aye.
And congratulations, Mr. Bridges. You're now vice chair. So with that, we turn the gavel to Dr. Revis.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank my fellow board members for this vote of confidence, and I will work hard and do my best to try to provide the leadership to this board. Some hard shoes to follow, but I will try my best. But I first want to just, we're going to the agenda approval, and then we'll have some board member observations later on. So I will take a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
I think, second here. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Board agenda is as presented. Okay, and so we are very delighted to have with us our Hendersonville High School Orchestra under the direction of Amanda Taint. And we are so excited. I said that wrong?
It's okay.
Okay, what is it, Mr. Craven?
Tant.
Tant. But I do want to thank you folks for being here and for sharing your music with us this evening. And so, board members, I guess we can go out to the audience.
Hi everyone, I'm Lila Feather. I'm the president of our honors orchestra class at Hendersonville High School. And we're going to have two songs that we're playing here today. One is Jingle Bells, and the other is the final movement from the Christmas concerto by Corelli, which was written in the 1700s. And we will be playing all of the movements of that tomorrow night at our concert at 7 p.m. if anyone does want to hear the rest of them. Thank you.
So that shows you your investment as a community in your arts. So I applaud the board who invested this long before I got to Henderson County, and it is really paying off. Y'all are outstanding. Thank you for coming and sharing. And we look forward to more concerts and more things coming up this year. And good luck on your concert tomorrow night. We'll give them time to get cleaned up and exit, because I don't think they want to sit there the entire meeting.
Thank you once again, Hendersonville High School. Okay, now we are ready for board member observations. Any board members have any observations at this time? Well, I just want to say welcome to our newest member, Mrs. Beth Campbell. We look forward to working with you, Beth, the next 4 years. And Amy Lynn, you're not a new member. Well, you are a new member, but not really, not really. But welcome back to our board and look forward to working with you. And Mr. Bridges, welcome back for the next 4 years. And I'm excited to be back again for 4 years, hopefully. So with that said, the only thing that I want to say as the board chair, you know, I've led 2 meetings, and you don't know a whole lot about me other than my 2 meetings that I've led and filling in for Mr. Egoff every once in a while. But I just want to say that my vision for us as a board is that we work collaboratively. That's my leadership style. I like for everyone to feel like they have a voice at the table, and I like for everyone to feel that their voice is recognized and honored and respected. So I just want us to go through this next year and remember, number one, we're not always going to agree on everything. And that's the way it goes. You know, we are 7 people with bring 7 perspectives to the table, but I want us to agree to disagree respectfully with each other. And I think as long as we can do that and keep the best interests of our students and our school system first and foremost in our minds and our hearts, we can't go wrong. So it's an honor and a privilege to work with you in this capacity, in this role. And Mr. Bridges, I look forward to you working with us as well. One of the roles of the chair and vice chair is that we meet with the superintendent, I guess it's the first Monday afternoon of the month, to come up with the agenda. Now, I don't like to think that I'm the gatekeeper of the agenda. I don't like thinking I'm a gatekeeper of anything. I'm just one of you guys. But if you have anything that you want to bring to the agenda, then you need to get it to me the last Monday of the month, 7 days before we make that agenda. I believe that's the way our policy reads. So if you have anything to come to the agenda, please get it to me. And it's not saying that we're going to go ahead and put everything on. Some things we may need to build some background information. on or gather more information, and that we feel that it's better suited to do a work session before we do bring it to the full meeting for a vote. I like work sessions. I think that it's informative. It gives us an opportunity to find information, to gather information before we come to a board meeting with a vote. Work sessions are public sessions. I want all of our work to be transparent. And so I want you to feel like you have a way to present issues and items for the board agenda. Okay? Anybody else?
I'll just say, welcome to Beth and welcome back to Amy. And congratulations, of course, to Dr. Revis and Mr. Bridges. It is an honor and a privilege to serve with all of you. And I just want to say an early Merry Christmas to all of our students and staff, as we got a little break coming up soon. And I hope that everybody has a truly great time with their families and friends. And I'll be praying for all of our high schoolers as they have testing next week. So hopefully we can just get through that. And then I hope that everyone has a wonderful and restful Christmas break. And our administrative team as well, make sure you take some time for yourselves, and we can come back ready for next year.
Well said, Mrs. Norman. Anyone else?
I would just like to say thank you, Kathy, and to everybody else, and thank you to Henderson County. I know, thank you for putting your trust in me, and I'm looking forward to working with everybody here and working with Henderson County for our students.
Anybody else?
Well, I would like to welcome Beth and Amy, and I'm really glad you two are still here. And I just want to say that since the hurricane, my time clock has been like way off, and the Christmas spirit has not really been there. But I was able to go to my granddaughter's Christmas program at Fletcher with Mr. Haney wearing his beautiful sweater. And I have to say that that really kind of like just like raised the bar for me. And then, of course, the Boys and Girls Club having come in and did such a tremendous job of taking care of our Atkinson kids, and now they're back. And just how the entire school system has come together and solidified our county and our kids. And it just feels really good to be back on track for the most part. I know we still have quite a bit of healing to go, but I'm just really impressed, and I'm happy to be sitting here on this board and ready to get started and maintain a good work relationship as well. So thank you, Dr. Revis.
Thank you. Anyone else? If nothing else, let's move on to our public comments. Our first public comment is from Mr. Joe Elliott, and Mr. Elliott's going to speak to us on funding. Just a reminder, Mr. Elliott, that time clock starts in 3 minutes when you start talking. Welcome.
Thank you. And in addition to Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa and Happy Hanukkah. The term woke was used during a complaint registered here last month during public comments about a straw vote on the recent presidential election among Henderson County Public Schools students. According to a current definition, when used by conservatives, woke refers to LGBTQ rights, gender-affirming care, DEI, and critical race theory. The substance of the complaint centered on the accuser's assertion that teachers influenced the students' voting. I see no connection between the voting and the description of the process as woke. These were kids who after careful consideration, were simply voicing their personal choices for president. The charge that teachers somehow influence the students' votes insults the teachers and demeans the students' cognitive ability to do their own research and make a measured choice on which candidates best spoke to their concerns. I do not know the teachers that supervise the process, but I am quite certain that each of them, whatever their personal political leanings, was well aware of the consequences for putting their thumb on the scale. So let's not question the process simply because we didn't like the results. Instead, let's recognize the professionalism of our teachers and the thoughtfulness of our students. Changing subjects, I also want to point out that I have repeatedly sounded the warnings about the very real dangers to the financial health of our schools. Apologies for the "I told you so," but the latest round of voting in Raleigh to extend funding for private religious schools and to further the legislative contribution to the More Welfare for the Wealthy program has now put a $600,000 hole in our school system's budget. Our 3 local representatives in Raleigh, Mrs. Balcom, Mr. Johnson, and Mr. Moffett, all voted for the voucher measure, so we can thank them for choosing their political agenda over the needs of the Henderson County Public Schools. When our representatives are not held accountable for their votes, we should not have the expectation that they will truly represent our needs in Raleigh. If you value our public schools, it is time to let Mrs. Balcom, Mr. Moffett, and Mr. Johnson know that their votes against our public schools and our kids are deserving of an F grade. Calling their offices and writing to them should put proper punctuation on the message. I also suggest we let our commissioners here know our concerns. Since our representatives do not talk to ordinary citizens but do communicate with our commissioners, let's ask them to support us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Next, we have Sheriff Silvius, and you want to address books in the media center and students' propaganda posters.
Okay, thank you, and welcome back, Amy, and welcome, Beth. I do want to talk about, and I'm going to defend myself a little bit of what the gentleman just spoke about. I believe that I was trying to not be accusatory of anyone. I was questioning, particularly the propaganda posters, which is what I do want to talk about, and that a majority of them did speak about pro-choice. As I reflect and looked into some of the different codes that we have for the school system, 5240, which is advertising in the schools. And I think this kind of goes more for outside influence of advertisement, but I think what it says in here, that the Board of Education prohibits advertising of vulgar, indecent, obscene, or anything that contains libelous statements, personal attacks, or abusive language. It talks about not attacking someone's character, and that includes sex, including pregnancy, childbirth, sexual orientation, gender, and identity. And I feel like this was attacking pregnancy. And how the posters were displayed. So I'm going to share the posters with you for those who didn't get to see them. To get to the books, I had tried to submit some books, and I had been working with Shannon, who Shannon has been very gracious in working with me, and she developed a policy or a committee. There were some of my books that were not accepted. In that time frame, I've become aware of other books that are in the media center that are sexually explicit books they're filled with obscene language. And so I feel like the system of vetting needs to be re-looked at and evaluated. I made a copy of just 3 of the books, and there's many of them, for you to look at. And, this is something I think just amongst the board needs to be discussed. And I would really appreciate that. I'm coming as a concerned mother, a concerned citizen. I feel like our community is, in the school system, you all do a wonderful job. And I think your goal is to raise children and to educate them highly, not bring them down to a lower level of what are in these books. So I would appreciate your attention on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And lastly, Joyce Marstella.
Thank you so much. You stole my, I was going to start out with thanking everyone for being, everything ditto to all she said. Because she really did hit it. You can agreeably disagree. You can, I know where I stand, and you know where you stand, and there's only one stand that I care about. And when I walk with him, I know that I'm doing what he has put in me to do. You don't have to agree with me. That's okay. I still love you. It doesn't matter. You say, how can you love me? Because he does. Because he loves you. And because he loves you, I can. And this is such a joyful time of year. I can't go into, I have sides, sure, I know things that I would like to say to you, and they're great pearls of wisdom, I think. But you realize that we can't take up all that time just to come at each other. We need to come to each other. We need to be able to bring out the best in us, the very best in us, and not put down each other for the very least things that we care about and think about and worry about. We want, all of us, want what's best for the children. Our children are so important. I have a great-grandson in Sugarloaf. Now, I understand I don't look old enough to have a great-grandson, but I am. I just turned 80, and I'm proud of it. I can still ride my horse, and as long as I can crawl on him, I'm on a go. So, amen. So I have all these things that I want to express and get you to know, but I can't do it because he's the only one who can change your mind, your thoughts. It says to be thankful in all things, not for all things. Some things I'm not thankful for. The big C, to me, is Christ. To other people, it might be cancer. I hate those things. I hate the things that destroy the image of God in us. I hate the things that undermine each other instead of bringing each other to a better place, a solid place, a place that we can stand and know that no matter what happens around us, we're doing what's right. And don't give up doing what's right. And if we could teach our children how to think rather than what to think, we'll have a better place, a better education system. You can throw all the money in the world at these kids. You can get the best of everything to them. But if they don't have the morals, the strength, the courage to understand what they're really talking about, what they're really walking into as adults, they're going to have problems. And we aren't helping those problems. But we can. We can help them. We can encourage them. We can come alongside them. We can do all the things that we need to do. And there's only one truth, and the truth is in the Word of God, and it never goes out void. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Marcelo. Yes, we have a clarification from the superintendent.
One thing, and Ms. Sylvia, I appreciate you bringing those things to our attention. I would like to remind the public, policy 3210 is out there for parental inspection of and objection to any instructional materials, not just media collections, but anything that is put before our students. So that is 3210, and that would begin at the school level with the Media and Technology Advisory Committee. So for anyone who ever has a need to review instructional materials, which includes our media collection, or has an objection to it, that is where that would start, would be at the school level. Then there is an appeal process to the district level, and then ultimately that would culminate in an appeal process to the board if it needed to get to that point. So the public has a right to inspect any and everything that we do. That's part of that Parents' Bill of Rights, but was in place before the Parents' Bill of Rights. So just want anybody who's listening to know that it's not just about the media collection, it's about parental has the right to inspect anything that we put in front of our students. So thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, we're now to consent agenda, and I will entertain a motion for consent agenda approval.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. And now we're ready for old business, the only item on old business. Mr. Taylor, if you will come forward and talk to us about approval of policy 3420.
As Mr. Taylor comes up, for your and the public's knowledge, this was the one that you tabled at the last meeting when you were asking about the procedures that we would make sure are in place for parents to be able to inspect those four-year plans and also to prove that we had those in line with the statute that is now in place. So, Mr. Taylor, thank you for bringing that back.
Yes, good afternoon, board members. And so, as Mr. Garrett has said, bringing back to you tonight this policy 3420, to be able to answer the question that was raised there in section B there on page 1, that is the update. And the final piece of that update stated that career development plans must be easily accessible to students and parents. And so the question was, how is it going to be easily accessible to our parents? And so in following up on that, there are 3 ways that parents are able to access their students' plans. The first one is that these plans are housed in the student's NC Ed Cloud account. And so parents are able to be with their student, have their student log into that account and bring up their career plan that way. Mr. Moore is our district office representative who's working with our schools and the program to get these plans in place. He is working with the company that is part of these plans to get a flyer made that can go out to our families that shows them the kind of step-by-step of how to get their students' login account information and be able to access the plans as well. So that'll be a piece coming later for that one. The second one is that students are able to print out their plans at school. Each of these plans are about 5 pages in length, and so students are able to print it out and take it home that way. And then the third way is how parents have the ability to access any student, any record that falls under their student, which is to contact the school and request a copy. So whether we're talking about report cards, attendance records, or these career development plans, a parent can contact the school, request that a copy of the plan be sent home, and the school will be happy to comply with that request. So right now, those are the 3 ways that parents are able to access these plans. So any questions on that part?
I just had a question. Do they create these in 8th now? Is that when they start to create the career development plan?
So they do not. They develop them in 9th grade, but we're also working, we have a grant that is providing some career development counseling to our middle schools. So the process and the informal conversations are starting, which helps them then register for 9th grade. And then once they're in 9th grade is when they'll do their 4-year plan.
Well, it says here the promotion standard will require that students not be promoted from 8th until a career development plan is completed.
Right, that's part of as they register. So we start that process in middle school.
End of the year.
End of the
Gotcha.
year as they're registering for the
Okay.
courses, which will typically, it's typically going to be February or March. So it will be during that 8th grade year.
Okay,
So that when they are promoted to 9th grade, they have that 4-year plan in place.
okay.
But like Mr. Moore was talking about, the plan is to go deeper into middle school
Yes.
and really develop those plans more and more,
Yes.
not just sign up for it.
So there's a lot of work right now going on with career inventories with our 6th and 7th grade kids, thinking about connecting then what those career inventory lists show as to some of the CTE courses or some of the elective courses that are available at each of our high schools.
Okay.
Helping them make a better 9th grade plan, and then they would meet every year to either update that plan or make sure that they are following that 4-year plan. So it is not locked in stone or set in stone from 9th grade to 12th grade. It is organically adjusted as the student needs. So it may be that biology was a little bit of a struggle, and they sit down and talk about, well, is science is really what you really love, or have you found something else? Maybe it was a creative writing class or something. So they will revisit those every year until they're a senior.
Okay.
And if I may, the Pathfinders, we're actually going over that with our students, and we're into the 2nd semester, and the question is how are you with your career plan? And the students that I've had, they're great with it, so it's working. It's working.
I appreciate you bringing it back. I just want to make sure when we bring these policies that, and like you said, the Parent Bill of Rights, I guess, highlighted it. We were doing it before anyways, but make sure that if it says easily accessible, we know where it's easily accessible at. But Thanks, sir, and I'll make a motion when you're ready. You good? All right. I move that the Henderson County Board of Public Education approve policy 3420, student promotion and accountability as presented.
Second.
Any more discussion or questions for Mr. Taylor? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Taylor, for bringing that back and getting us that information. Okay, so I guess you're still here with us for
I am.
new business, policy updates.
Yes, so for new policy update, I bring to you tonight policy 1510, 4200, 7270, school safety. In this policy update, provision was added in section D3 regarding training on recognizing and reporting threats. A new section E was added to address the statutorily required threat assessment teams. The legal references and other resources were updated, and the cross-references were updated. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about this policy or these updates.
Now, I know this is in a policy, but we already had threat assessment teams that were at all of our schools anyways, right?
Yes, sir. And so, again, as this policy update is coming from a statutory requirement, as Mr. Craven has said, this district was well ahead of the curve in starting threat assessment teams in this process almost probably 10 years ago now. And so they've been in place. And so the trainings that the state has provided in getting these started in other places has just been good refreshers for our district.
And this is a policy that came as a result of some of the legislative changes, and the Center for Safer Schools took a little longer than anticipated to get those training videos to districts and also these policy updates to districts. So that's why you're seeing this in December rather than in the earlier policy updates.
Any more questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I have a quick question. When it says that training must be provided annually for all stakeholders, including parents, what does that look like for parents? What does that mean?
So whenever we met with principals this summer prior to the start of the school year, we talk about how do we communicate with our students, with our families, and our staff about reporting concerns. And so each school kind of in the grade level dictates what that looks like in terms of appropriateness. But when we think about our district, the one system that we have in place that gets used quite frequently in our middle and high schools is our Say Something anonymous reporting. So that is one way that at our middle and high schools that we communicate through a phone message at the start of the year. At open houses, our students are trained on the Say Something reporting app. And so that really is what fosters that conversation about when you have a concern, there are multiple ways that you can report it. You can report it to an adult face-to-face. You can send an email to a teacher or some other, the administrator, counselor. But then also we have Say Something as a means to be able to report those concerns. Then also with our staff, it's talking about when they see or they hear something that's concerning, again, the appropriate ways that they need to make sure that they report those concerns in a timely manner to the administrator so that they can then look into it as need be.
Quick question. On Part E, the threat assessment teams, now these are already in place, right? Okay.
Yes, so we have a district team that serves all of our schools. The team is made up of district representatives. We've got psychologists, social worker, law enforcement, school nurse represented so that we have a wide range of expertise within the team so that when a school brings a concern to the team, that it's able to look at it from a lot of different viewpoints and then put together a plan that is going to be able to support that student, support the school.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Campbell, you bring up a great point there. When this first became statutory, a lot of districts were really concerned as to how they would put these things in place because they were starting from scratch, and Henderson County has been well ahead of this. So anytime you can be proactive, it's nice, and that's a testament to this board in this district years and years ago, establishing a safety director and establishing all of these things very clearly at the school level, district level, et cetera, because it just allowed us to fall right into place with the new law and the new policy.
Any more questions?
So when a school brings a student forward that they are needing to discuss, what representatives from the school are coming? Would there be like a school psychologist that have talked with this student? Like, how does that work? Or is it just the administrator, or does it vary based on what it
It
is?
can vary based on who the school believes can provide the best amount or the correct information to the team. And so oftentimes that is going to be the principal. It could be a counselor or social worker. It could also be the SRO or anyone else on the staff that they believe it is going to be able to provide insight that helps the team get to the right place in the end.
Okay.
And Ms. Taylor, can you explain kind of generally to what the district level would then look like off of the school?
In terms of the meeting, yes. And so in that meeting, the school representatives present the information to the team. The team uses that as an opportunity to ask clarifying questions, to have dialogue, to better understand what is going on within the circumstances for that student. From that, the team then has deliberation about what is the level of concern. There is low, moderate, high, and imminent. Those are the 4 levels of concern. Then once that concern, that the team reaches that consensus, the final piece is myself, Shannon Otten, Scott Massington, and Jennifer Shelton meet with the parent or the guardians for that student. We talk about what the team process looked like so that they understand it as well. But then we talk about where the team landed within that consensus of the concern, and then what the next steps are. We talk about what are the appropriate levels of support. How can we as a district support the students, support the family, because we want to support that student in being successful as a student in our school in a safe manner, but we also want to keep our school and the other students and our staff members safe as well. And so that's kind of what that process looks like.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the Henderson County Board of Public Education approve policy 1510/4200/7270, school safety as presented.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion or questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
You're welcome.
It's not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. This is the Mr. Taylor Show tonight.
I'm selfish like that.
Yeah, I know you are. All right, capital update.
Yes. So for tonight's capital update, I'm going to start with our one big project that the school system has been tackling for, since the hurricane, which is Atkinson. As you all know, Atkinson did have extensive damage as a result of the storm, which resulted in all of the flooring needing to be replaced. And so, as I believe it was mentioned earlier, we are happy that the students are back in that building today for their first day back and being able to see the new flooring. That has just been a huge lift and a team effort. Just greatly appreciate the staff members there at Atkinson and all that they did in getting in there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this weekend, spending time in there, getting their classrooms ready, getting the hallways ready. So it was a huge lift from them and just a lot of patience and grace on their part as we worked through this. Also, major shout out to our maintenance department, technology department. It was just a huge lift when you think about we go from a school where all of the flooring had to be ripped out, some of the walls had to be replaced. So a huge undertaking there, but to be able to do all of that in about a 2-month period is a testament just to the great people that are in this district. But that work is ongoing. The classrooms, the hallways, the media center finished up over the weekend in terms of that flooring. So all of that's finished, but the gymnasium floor is still in progress. So that's why this project still is considered in progress at this time. So a couple of pictures here to show you. As you walk into the airlock there at Atkinson, that airlock has walk-off carpet, which its purpose is to collect leaves and other debris that are on people's shoes so that it doesn't get tracked inside the building. But in the center of that is the school logo that was complimentary from the flooring company. And so just a great, not free. You've taught me well, Mr. Garrett. And so that is the logo that will greet you there. So just a great way to start your entrance into the school. And then you can see one of the classrooms there and just the flooring and the look as it was ready to go for this morning when students walked back in. Here are a couple of pictures from the gymnasium. The first picture you see there, that was the one that I presented to you at last month's board meeting. And now you can see what it looked like. I believe I took that one on Friday of last week. And so coming along, they're about to the point where they're going to be ready to start putting the lines on the floor. And so very soon, students will be able to enjoy that space as well.
So as a parent of my son that goes to Atkinson, there's not many days that he's fired up to go to school, but this morning he was fired up to get back into that building. He was ready to go and see what it looked like and get back to just his classroom. But aside from that, I was a former board member for the Boys and Girls Club for about 10 years. I was a Boys and Girls Club member when I was a kid. Really hats off to those folks. They opened their doors, no questions asked, gave us everything that we needed for as long as we needed. And really, we couldn't thank them enough. We were going to have to split those kids up between 3 or 4 schools, right? And Boys and Girls Club stepped up. So I really, truly appreciate them and their board.
So any questions or any other comments on that?
Where did the funds come from again? Insurance, is that correct? What was our deductible? Or no insurance?
When we start talking money, I like to defer.
Most of this will be coming through the insurance. We have it filed with them. The flood claim does have a $100,000 deductible, which will be part of our ask to FEMA. We won't know that for a while, but the deductible is $100,000.
Okay.
And we're also keeping our eye on some of the money that the General Assembly has allocated to see if we can tap into that for the deductibles. They've not really lined out a process for accessing that money yet, although it's sitting there $50 million to help with some facility pieces.
Okay.
I'm just amazed at how quickly
Yeah.
this has been taken care of. And like you say, Mr. Taylor, it's a heavy lift, and a lot of people had to come together with helping hands. And kudos to our maintenance, our staff, our teachers, custodians, everybody who came together this weekend to get this ready to go. Very excited.
If you go back one slide, one of the things that I want to point out, the flooring there is what we've adopted as a district as kind of our standard LVT flooring. So if you go into a classroom that has had flooring replaced, you'll see that. And that gray was done strategically because it's in stock and it goes with any of the school colors. So we have attic stock of that, we have back stock of that, so that if we have the ability to expand or if there is any damage, we're able to take care of that quickly. Same thing when we think about our carpet. The carpet tiles that we're using is a standard stock carpet tile that we can source pretty quickly from the same thing. So really when thinking not just Atkinson, but holistically about how we're trying to maintain our facilities. So it just turns out it looks really, really good.
Mr. Sosha, if I may, that $100,000 deductible, is that per policy? Is that one policy for the entire school district?
Yeah, that is, so all of the damage that was done district-wide is being categorized into a claim for flood damage, a claim for wind damage. And each of those has a $100,000 deductible, but they aggregate all of the damage and put them into each. It's not by location. It's for the whole district.
Have they told us how much they're going to increase our rates yet?
No, we have not heard about any change.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming.
Oh, it's coming.
So looking at our MRTS projects, which again, the county leads in partnership with us. The chiller replacement Apple Valley, again, that bidding process took place back in October. And so my understanding is that the county has a contract ready to sign off with the recipient who will be awarded that bid. At Atkinson, also, the HVAC replacement is in progress. I believe today the factory startup was scheduled, so it's the system is working, but just the factory startup hopefully took place today, and then that will get signed off on, and phase 1 will be in the books. And then West Henderson, of course, continues to be our big project with the new front office from a security standpoint and the building connection. some pictures that I can show you here. From Atkinson, this shows you the old unit there on my right that is what was in each of our classrooms. And so that has been removed from about a third of the school now as part of phase one. This company has then blocked in that hole, and that has since been painted to where it blends in. Okay, it's not just left like that. But whenever I was there and I was like, oh, these are some good pictures I could put in there. That's what what I was able to get last week. But that'll be, if it's not already painted, it will be painted to blend in. And then the old units have been taken out. Our maintenance department has gone through and salvaged any parts that can be salvaged. Since again, about 2/3 of the school still has those old units, and repairs may pop up at any time.
So you've replaced those units in the room, and what are?
So it's rooftop units, very similar to what you see
Okay,
here.
okay, so it's going up on the roof. Gotcha.
And they now also have air conditioning and heat in the hallways, which has
Oh,
not
that's right,
been
'cause
there
they
before.
didn't.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
No.
Uh-uh.
No. 1982,
And the
ma'am.
water.
Yeah, so it was supposed to the hallways were supposed to get radiant heat from the outside and whatever came from the classrooms. Didn't necessarily work well in the mountains of North Carolina. In the shadow of the north side, yes. So we were able to get with the engineer and design a system that now conditions the hallways, and you can tell a difference.
Then in terms of West Henderson, here's a couple of pictures of the new entrance into the front office area. So this would be that airlock space. So the first picture you see there is taken with the viewpoint where you're looking straight ahead at the 4 doors that then go out into the courtyard up to the cafeteria gymnasium area. The other one is a side view to where that's the door that's going to go into the office lobby. Here are a couple of pictures of that office lobby. I think a couple months I showed you some pictures, but at that time it wasn't a painted space. So it's since been painted and getting really close to them being able to finish this area up.
It's expansive. It looks like a large area.
Yes, yeah, it's longer than it is wider, that's what I'll say. And then as we look at Area B, again, this is the area that's connecting the X building and the gymnasium area, and also including the 4 single-user restrooms. So this just continues to be that hallway. Again, last month I showed you a picture of this, but again, at that time it was just block, it wasn't painted, so now it's got a little bit more of a finished look to it. The center picture is one of those single-user restrooms without anything really in it at this moment. And then the final picture is where the doors have been installed. I think last month I showed you that picture and it was just an opening. So that's the progress that's been made in that area since last month. Any questions?
Thank you.
Making progress. All right. Thank you very much.
Mr. Sosha? No, he's already said he defers to you.
Short one this evening. Financial report through November 30th for the local current expense and other restricted funds, Funds 2 and Fund 8. Revenues for the year totaled $19,013,000, and expenditures are at $16,957,000. Comparing that to last year, it's $1,244,000 more than last year for expenditures, and as is designed, the local appropriation is $1,250,000 more than it was last year, so they are keeping pace with each other. And we did just pay out $3 million to our staff for the local supplement in November. So that's the high point of November.
So you appropriated 3.573 though from fund balance to cover the 3,085,000.
It's going to come from various things, yeah.
So where's our fund balance set after we paid that November payment?
Our fund balance is still planned to be at 4.9.
And enterprise funds, I know they're gonna get a little funky because of Helene.
Yep.
How do both of them look?
So child nutrition, there was state funding that was given that is helped to offset the expenses for those forgiven days because they're revenue driven.
Because we paid them, but we didn't get any revenue for
But
it.
we didn't have
Right.
any revenue coming in for meals or anything, so that's going to be, we don't know exactly how much we're getting yet, but it looks like it's probably going to be enough to cover the salaries that we paid, so they should break even for the time that we were closed.
Okay.
Child nutrition, they are talking about child care. There's always talk about additional funding for child care centers because they were very hard hit during this time as well, but we have not received any notifications specifically of any dollars coming to help them.
Do we not get a report every month on childcare and child nutrition?
Quarterly.
It's quarterly, okay.
Yep, and right now, trying to remember back to the last, child nutrition's doing all right. That we have planned a deficit for them, a small one. And child care is a little bit behind, but they're catching up because part of the deficit is, we got some revenue has been behind. The state was behind on giving us our revenue, so their deficit shrank because we got some back pay from them.
Just got to keep an eye on those this year.
Yep.
Well, every year, but.
Yeah, every year.
I would like to see us at some point in the next couple of months talk about child nutrition and possibly asking the county to help fund some of that for the parents that can't afford that.
Let's do that next month.
I can let you know 7 days before.
Let me know the last Monday.
Yeah. I'd like to discuss that.
Any other questions for Mr.
Or
Sessions?
earlier, if we need to look stuff up, is
Yeah.
always good too.
Right.
Okay, here's your notice.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sosha. And we are to you, Mr. Garrett. Bring us home.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the board, it's my pleasure to share the report here in December. On December 13th, this Friday, we'll have early dismissal at 12 p.m. for our Flex Calendar schools. That'll begin their holiday break, Christmas break there. December 16th through the 19th is our high school testing date. So, Ms. Norman, I hope everybody will pray, not just you, for those students as they go through those semester tests next week. December 16th is an optional teacher work day for our Flex Calendar schools, but no school again for kids. December 17th through the 2nd is their complete winter break. End of first semester for our traditional calendar schools is the 20th of December. That will also be an early dismissal day for our early college and traditional calendar schools. Winter break then, Christmas break for everyone will be December 23rd through January the 2nd. January is School Board Appreciation Month. You know, you'll have all kinds of accolades, I'm sure, coming your way, so get ready. But we certainly appreciate your willingness to step forward and be sworn in and to serve your community all 12 months, not just January, dadgummit. We appreciate you all 12 months. The January 3rd is our optional teacher work day for all staff. That's no school for students. That's a Friday. And then January the 6th is second semester will begin. All students return to school. Our January school board tours will be on the 8th, and we'll be touring Hendersonville Middle School, East Henderson High School, and Dana Elementary School. If you ever have a school that you have an interest in touring, just let Ms. Tawana know. And we want to make sure that you're not double visiting, but you're able to get around. And I know some of you have an interest. If you have a student that attends one school, just make sure you communicate that ahead of time, and we'll make those switches. January 13th will be your next regular business meeting, beginning at 4 o'clock. And two things, I really want to say thank you to the Atkinson staff, community, parents, students, the Boys and Girls Club, this entire Henderson County Public Schools who pitched in, either they're moving them to the Boys and Girls Club or moving them back. I know that Edneyville, 2 custodians came over Saturday and helped out and get that. So it really is a team effort that has gotten that done. So appreciate all of that, and just cannot say enough about how smooth it looked on the outside, even though it wasn't smooth on the inside. But, you know, the ability to stand up a school in a few days and move it back in a few days is just a testament to the great people that we have in this district. And I'm certainly excited to see, I saw kids this morning, they were noticing new floors, and they were excited to be back in their building. And once we get the gym going, it's just amazing to think that even though it's felt like a long time, it's really not been that long to get that kind of work done. And then finally, we extend certainly our warmest wishes to everyone, our students, family, staff, and our entire community for a joyful Christmas and a bright and prosperous new year. I hope the holiday season brings happiness, peace, and cherished memories to every one of you. And I know that people will not be upset that they're out of school for a couple of weeks either, as far as our 12,500 non-paid, non-voluntary employees. I call them our students. So we certainly wish everybody has a very Merry Christmas. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you to you, too. The board will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Thank you.